Here.
Najarian.
Here.
Parazian.
Here.
And Chair Devine.
Here. Next.
The agenda for the September 1st, 2020 regular meeting of the Glendale Housing Authority was posted on Tuesday, August 25th, 2020 on the bulletin board outside City Hall.
Thank you. And what's next, please?
Next would be approval of minutes of the regular Housing Authority meeting of August 4th, 2020, and the Joint Housing Authority and City Council meeting of August 4th, 2020.
Is there- Thank
Second.
you. Second?
Yes. There is
Roll
second.
call? Oh, with that, well, actually, there is no roll call necessary. Hearing no objections, the minutes stand approved as submitted. And what's next, please?
Oral communications, we do not have any callers.
No calls today? All righty. Thank you. Next,
Authority member and staff comments?
do we have any?
None for me, thank you.
Okay, thank you. And
I
next-
actually have comment,
Oh, okay,
if I may,
Mr.
Madam Chair. So,
Versace.
a number of times, this body, the Housing Authority, meets with hardly anything on the agenda. We meet simply to approve minutes, and we open and close. I know that there's a stipend associated that we receive as authority members, and I personally, it does not sit well with me that I'm earning a stipend for simply opening and closing a meeting that has no items on the agenda, and I'd like to see if there's any, I'd like to ask the city attorney if there's something that obligates us to meet when we have no items on the agenda, or whether the minutes can be pushed. I believe they can, and hopefully through the reduction of these meetings, we'll be able to not only save some money, but also not go through these, what I believe are somewhat useless exercises.
Oh, boy. Are you suggesting we go dark?
For housing authority meetings, when there are no items on the agenda, I believe so.
I sort of went there with the city council meetings when I was mayor. And some of the criticism I got on certain social platforms, which shall not be named, was that we're trying to stifle the public input. I don't have an objection with your proposal, but I just want you to be ready that I have caught, and I'm catching a lot of heat almost every week on that certain social platform, and you know who you are, about going dark. So I just want to raise that. I don't have an objection to it.
Sure.
Yeah.
I understand that there are some cost savings involved that you mentioned, but you guys know.
Well,
But here's the thing, we sometimes don't have items more than a couple of times during the month. You know, in those regards, I mean, we can have a rule, we can adopt a practice where we say we meet at least once a month to handle business, and that is the time, and if the public knows that. If there's occasions for more, then we meet more frequently, but to simply have these meetings with no items on the agenda, I don't think is a good look, even if it is, I mean, we can ask to see how many times we've had these meetings and how many callers we've had during those periods. I know, because I've been in these chambers as a clerk when there were meetings with nothing on agenda and people did call. But I think we can also provide alternate opportunities for people to voice their opinions and concerns and hear them out. We just have to be creative. It doesn't have to be necessarily in this type of exercise.
I will second it.
Yes, I agree. And it's a good thing that you brought it up, because if I brought it up, it wouldn't go anywhere.
So I would agree that that we don't need to have them every single week. Are you suggesting, Vice Chair Kasakian, that we meet once a month, or would my colleagues want to think about every other week, twice a month?
Whenever we have issue on hand, I guess, whenever there is an issue that we have to discuss, then we're gonna have the meeting. If you don't have it, then.
Madam Chair, I would like to see from the last 3 years how often we've actually had items on the agenda, maybe a pattern within the months. I know there are certain things such as HUD programming approvals and others that are cyclical, and I think we can find the patterns from at least the last 5 years of meetings as to where the lulls are and figure out. I think staff is creative and knowledgeable enough to come up with a schedule for us that then we could propose to ourselves and to the public.
Madam Chair and members of the Housing Authority, if I may, it's probably worth to bring back a report to discuss.
We'll have to
Our bylaw, the Housing Authority's bylaws require you to have a meeting every Tuesday. We cancel those a year, early in the year, so we know at the same time as the council meeting. So council can certainly do it that way, They can decide, you set a policy that when there's no business on the business agenda, the meeting will not go forward. You could also do it twice a month, whatever you want to do. So then staff can do the research that you're asking for, Mr. Vice Chair, to determine how many meetings we've had, and then council can set the policy going forward. So if that's okay,
Okay,
if there, it sounds
I
like there's
would
a,
like that, yes,
we'll
thank
bring
you.
that item
That
back.
is- that would
Okay,
be
so
helpful.
that item will come back, and until then, we will continue to meet weekly?
We have to unless the meetings are canceled. Yes,
Correct. Okay, all right, so we'll await that, that report, and then we can vote on that item.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kasakian. Any other business? Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
What's next, please?
Adjournment?
Motion to adjourn.
Sir,
We are adjourned at 3:27. Thank you all.
okay, thank you. All right, now, Mr. Jamian,
Next would be roll call. Councilmember Brotman,
Here.
Devine,
Here.
Kasakian,
here.